to the sidelines. Has a man wide open. It's tipped. It's picked off. MJ Devonshire. Got space. He's going to take it to the end zone. Pittsburgh takes the lead.
He loves those moments. It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John's. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell three. You know, we're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin.
Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
Yeah, Ryan, so I'm sorry to hear that you were not able to crash on Lindy Man's couch.
Yeah. You know, I was hoping to get there, but I guess we'll all learn from our mistakes. I'm going to try to do better. And you know, I'm looking forward to hanging out with Lindy Man in the very near future.
All right, well, I don't even know where to transition from that. Welcome back to Simplified Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm not joined by my usual stable of freaks, geeks, and otherwise naughty individuals. I've brought on a couple of new ones for today's episode. We are revisiting the case race draft with college football coaches. To assist me, I've brought on some friends of the show, Patrick Mayhorn, Ryan Donnelly, and Colton Denning. We'll start with the freak, Ryan Donnelly. Now, I'm glad you came on the show because, you know, you're here to address the rumors that the reason why Elon Musk and Donald Trump had a big public falling out is that they tried to add you as a third to their relationship. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I mean, I would kind of view it as being the primary, and they're kind of like two attaches to what I have going on. But you got to get it how you live, man. You gotta make it all work, you know. And the lifestyle's a lifestyle, and not everyone's cut out for it.
You know,
I actually heard that he was their second choice behind Zach Smith.
Unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Tough guy to be in this in second too.
I wonder how much Zach's listeners know about Zach Smith. I wonder how much crossover there is with familiarity of the 2018 Ohio State offseason drama.
Do you think he's on there talking about it? I wouldn't know. I'm not getting on there listening. But do you think he's talking about getting his hog out at the White House? He's doing like story time. It's like a story time YouTuber.
It sucks so bad that I had to see that picture. I had it sent to me, and I can't believe I had to see it.
Yeah. I don't know why you put it as your wallpaper for like 6 months. It's weird. If you don't like it, it doesn't make sense to me.
Everyone's trying to get some licks in today. Let's just call this. Let's just get to the fucking case race, huh?
All right. Next up is Patrick Mayhorn, the other half of Flipping the Field, that polycule there.
Mm-hmm.
Right at Media Midfield with Ryan. Patrick, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good. I've prepared an extensive draft board, and I'm ready to deploy my brilliant drafting strategy to the world.
Now, when you say draft board, you're talking about beers or coaches?
Yes, to both.
Fair enough. And last here on our list of GMs is Colton Denning, the proprietor of Two Stripes CPD, your home for highlights and other interesting college football things throughout the season and off season. Colton, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to join the show. I'm excited to see what everybody's big board looks like. I have a Cam Newton prospect where I don't even care what the rest of my roster looks like. I got one person who's going to carry me to glory.
All right. Now, I did forget to set an order for who will be drafting first, so we're going to do that.
Oh, this is very suspicious.
The ballots are frozen. Frozen in envelope. This is not good.
Because I don't know, Colton, you referenced it there, and Zach, sorry to hijack your podcast, but
go ahead.
I feel pretty confident here that every single person in this room has the same 101. There's one guy everyone wants to take.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's not personally not on my board for character concerns, but I know who you're talking about.
All right, let's give this a spin.
All right, here we go. Oh, all right.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Okay. I see how this is.
It's on video. I put it on video. There was no trickery there.
Yeah, yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have won the lottery when LeBron James is the number 1 overall pick. What were the odds?
Unbelievable. You bring us on your podcast just to you cheat the system. You freeze your own name on the little wheel. Unreal. I thought this was a fair election here, but no, it's not.
That's too bad, man. I'm taking Brett Bielema 1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt about it. There's no doubt.
Yeah, he's everything you want. He's got all the physical traits that you want in a player of this magnitude, right? He's got size. He's probably got speed, and we're talking about drinking speed here. And he's probably got some drinking IQ to go along with it. You do not coach in the far north for that long without knowing a thing or two about that.
No. Yeah, I mean,
I also feel like in a chase race, like you got to have, when you're around other groups, you got to have some underrated shit talking abilities. You got to have the ability to get under other people's skin. And we've seen for over a decade now, Brett Bielema is adept at doing all of those things, even down to the bowl game last year with Shane Beamer. Like having that on your side, I think is an underrated quality rather than outside of just being able to drink.
I think it's a way of life for him. He truly loves the game. You know, he's somebody who he's going to come in. He's going to change your culture of your team. He's going to get everybody fired up. He's a franchise drinker for sure.
Yeah. I guess the only question, if you're looking for something for him, he's 55 now. Is he still at the peak of his prime? I think the answer is probably yes. Like look, he was my 101 too. But if you're looking to poke holes in a guy's otherwise a flawless prospect, do you have any concerns about Bielema's age here?
I would if he was a smaller guy, a guy of his stature. That's just momentum carrying. I don't think that's his production is really going to fall off for another couple years here.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, I've done the other wheel picks. The order will be myself, Colton, Ryan, Patrick, and then our surprise, which I'll introduce later in the game.
Okay.
So Colton, you're on the board.
And just for clarity purposes, when we can take somebody who we get one kind of legacy pick, and that can be anybody throughout college history, correct?
Yes, that is our other fun rule. You can take any legacy pick, any coach throughout history, but they cannot be actively coaching. So, for example, you can't take like Dabo Swinney, but when he was in college.
Okay. Oh, I kind of want to just go legacy right off the board here, but my pick is getting close to 90, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway because if there's one person that I'd want to drink a beer with in the whole world throughout human history, it's fucking Barry Switzer, man. I got to have Barry Switzer on my squad. That is a Cam Newton prospect. He's 87 years old right now, but given how Jerry Jones is still moving through the alcohol world, I know a thing or two about Barry Switzer. You can Google Barry Switzer beer on Google Images and multiple things are going to pop up. I'm rolling with Barry, man. And when you're in a case race, you got to have somebody who keeps the mood lively and keeps spirits up. And Barry Sanders can do that better than anybody. And he's bringing the mink coat too with him, so that helps.
Yep, he was number one on my legacy board too. I mean, he's incredible. There was a conversation like back in the mid 2010s about there being a TV show based around his exploits during the 80s of college football, and I really wish that had gotten made. The guy who did Miami Vice was going to make it, and that fell off. But that needs to happen. That has to come back.
Yeah, quite honestly, before Barry Switzer dies, and now that everything is kind of a fair game, not that it wasn't given he coached fucking 30, 40 years ago, like all of those stories, unedited, unfiltered, need to come out and need to be on video for all of us to hear and listen to.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been pushing that for years. We need the Danny McBride 1980s Southwest Conference TV show. Like we need that adaptation. It just makes too much sense. it's an era ripe with stories that I feel like even though it has been talked about so much, there's still so much out there that we don't know about what Barry Switzer was getting up to, about just the various crimes and misdemeanors of the Southwest Conference.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's a stud. That's a good pick, Colt. That's a good pick. Am I up here, Zach? It's me.
Yeah, I do want to mention that the love of the game has not died with Barry Switzer. He released his own beer brand less than a year ago.
Wow.
I was gonna make a joke and say he's gonna bring his own beer brand. I didn't even know he had one. I was just firing from the hip.
We might have to partake now. I'd be a fraud, I think, at this point if I didn't.
Called
Wonder how it
Switzer
is.
Light Lager. Oh man, can we get some of this? You think it's from Skydance Brewing Company in Oklahoma? I wonder if we can get this sent over. Damn, I got to get to Oklahoma for the first and only time in my life.
Got a picture of him on there and everything. That's awesome. That's a good looking can. I gotta give him credit. I don't love that they went for sort of a Nazi style font on the on the can. I don't really know why they did that. I don't usually associate that with Barry Switzer, but I don't know. Maybe there's more layers to the man than we realized.
Yep. All right. I've got my pick here. I have a couple other guys really high on my board, but I get the feeling that they're going to be there for me after Patrick goes. So I'm taking the number 3 overall prospect on my board here, which is Brent Key from Georgia Tech. Brent is 46 years old, former college lineman. He played right guard. He went to work at UCF, where he met his wife, where she was working on the marketing team. And I just kind of get a picture in my head here of a guy who I know is a free competitor and married like a marketing intern from the athletic department when he was like a 26-year-old GA in Central Florida after playing college offensive line. Pretty clear picture in my head of the kind of guy that Brent Key is off the field. I feel really strong about this one. And a hefty fellow too. Maybe not a true anchor, a true nose like Bielema is, but he can put some down. He's got volume for sure.
It's a good pick. That's strong. He's I don't know if he gets enough appreciation as a potential drinker among college football coaches. I think Brent Key absolutely can put 10, 15 down, no problem.
Yeah. And then he's that's just the warm up, right? So
yeah, and then he's ready to start drinking.
Yeah.
He's also do you have character concerns about him being a cut off the sleeves of your sweatshirt guy?
No, I kind of like that. I mean, you obviously it's kind of a dickhead move. You're doing that in day-to-day life, but you're doing that around a football team. Like I kind of like the tone he's setting.
Yeah, I was kind of opposite of character concerns. It's like a character benefit for this particular draft.
That's fair. I mean, he was high on my board either way. I had all the same reasons. Just I think that the big fella's gonna go early.
I feel like character concerns in this draft, we're all the Cincinnati Bengals here of the 2000s. Like we're all looking for the guys who have a little bit of dirt on their reputation right now.
Colton, before Patrick picks, I am sending you a text because I have a minus 1,000 odds that Pat picks this guy in his next 2 picks here. So I would just I'm just putting that on your radar. We'll let Patrick pick.
I don't love the sounds of that. I'm a little concerned about that.
You've got a hole in your draft room, man.
Yeah, let me know when you're done leaking my board, and then I'll make my first pick.
Go ahead. Texas been set.
I'm going with Steve Sarkisian as my first round pick. He's a powerhouse in waiting. I think he's a sleeping giant of the case race here. Gonna need to do some convincing, but I think it can get done.
Yeah, and especially because you're catching him that first day back on the wagon. That's going to be special.
He's going nuts.
If this beer is the first one to touch his lips in a long time, like this is going to be a special performance.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I considered taking him. Brett was too good to pass up, and also felt it would be a little bit mean to take him 1-1. But he's the reason why I limited historical coaches to guys who aren't still active, because someone could have picked Steve Sarkisian in like 2006.
Yeah.
But I mean, what can you say? Generational talent. I'm not going to argue with that pick.
Is this a snake draft? Am I up again?
You are up, but we do have to introduce our final rule here.
Okay.
Is that so after each round, one coach will be thrown in the drunk tank. He will be off the board for anyone to take. I've taken off all active coaches who have been picked. So Brent Key, and Sark are safe. We'll spin the wheel now. I don't know if my mic's picking up, but let's see. Do you have any guesses as to who got thrown in the drunk tank? He's an enemy of flipping the field.
Oh God. Is it Phil Longo?
Yes.
That's good. He was not on my board. We'll take that one.
Yeah.
No. All right, Pat, it's back up to you. Phil Longo has been compromised to a permanent end. Who are you taking with your second pick?
All right. I fear that my second pick is going to kind of give away my strategy here a little bit. Because I am now out of reasonable, realistic options. So I'm going to go with... shit. I'm going to go with Ken Niumatalolo, who is a member of the LDS Church. It does have sort of a BYU connection with Steve Sarkisian. It's all going to kind of hinge on Steve here. If Ken sees Steve fall, if he sees Steve, give into the temptation, I think that his will be broken, and then we can sort of activate that big body of his.
That's a big gamble, man. But I think I see your strategy here.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of my strategy over the next couple picks. I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
I gotta be honest. I think you could have waited on him, Pat. I think you could have waited on him. That could have been like a last round sleeper.
Yeah. I feel good about my picks. I'm sort of a Seattle Seahawks style, case race drafter. I'm not necessarily looking for the consensus board. I've got my own evaluations that I've been doing.
All right. It's back to me, huh?
That's right.
Okay. So I'm taking one here. Not a big name coach in the college football scene, but I believe a very big name drinker. I've got Jason Eck out of New Mexico. He is starting there for the first season after coming over from Idaho in the offseason. Former Wisconsin offensive lineman in the 90s, Wisconsin native. Going to New Mexico is the first time he's coached south of Muncie, Indiana. Been in the Midwest his entire life. Looking at him, he weighs got to be about 350, 400, and it's all in the belly. Just a guy I think can soak up some beers, and he still has flow in his mid 40s. He's 47 years old, which is used the sign of a guy to me who can put some beers down. I don't know how to describe that, but if you're slicking back your hair at 47, I think you're still getting after it. You're tearing up like an Applebee's on a Thursday night.
I mean, he's got the gut that's clearly visible through a black sweatshirt. That takes some fucking doing on his part. Like you can't really question it at that point. This man is committed to looking like a big jug.
Yeah. And that's two former offensive linemen on the roster now too. I feel good about that. Yeah.
Pat, I think you're underselling how he looks. He looks like a sack of potatoes through that sweatshirt. I mean,
it's a pretty preposterous look. There's one later on, if you're looking at pictures of him, where he's got one of those fucking like waterproof vests on over top of a polo, and you can see like just a little bit of stomach sticking out below the vest and above his pants. It's not the most dignified look in the world. But
I mean, the best way to describe him is like Josh Heupel with 30 extra pounds on him if he had like Jiminy Glick's head with black hair. That is what that's what Jason Eck looks like. And what else could you want? What else could you possibly want from him?
I think a benefit here too is the cleanup. He's going to eat the cans. Like once he finishes, it's sort of a mouthful goat. He's going to just put those things down, and then you don't even need a trash can.
And you know, the last thing I'll say on him and what really sold me, if you go to his like press conference pictures from I think one of their media days, he's going no tie, shirt unbuttoned so you can see the chest hair. That guy's drinking, man. He's probably drunk at that press conference. I like Jason Eck here.
Looks like his face is like melting off. It's God damn. This is a fascinating looking guy.
All right.
I feel like
Colton,
everybody's got their types right now. Pat's got his board. Ryan's gonna go big body, stick to Big Sky, Wisconsin, NDSU, and I don't know if this is off the radar or not, but just from a mentality standpoint, I feel like he's gonna be my workhorse, and that's Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom can definitely put some beers down, but Jeff Brom is a psycho. This is a man who once got on live TV on NBC, clearly concussed, and said, "Do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Let's play football." That is a guy I want on my case race team right there. This is an XFL veteran. This is somebody who in every press conference he has after Purdue loses is not afraid to throw people under the bus. This is somebody who could quite honestly tear my team to shreds. Like if somebody's lagging behind, this is a guy that could just totally blow it up. But if it goes right, we're looking at a Rasheed Wallace Pistons type situation here with Jeff Brom.
Yeah, this is a glue guy.
Yeah.
Glue guy for sure.
Yeah.
I think, and the thing you got to consider too, I feel like Brian Brom in this family might be the top pick, right? Like you almost would rather have Brian, but you can't get him. And you know, Jeff knows, he's heard those whispers. So you know, Jeff wants to prove himself in this setting too.
It's like drafting Michael Jordan's kids. They're gonna be driven to be even better.
So, I think that this is a style of guy, and like you said, it's a glue guy, but a lot of my scouting was done just solely off the Wikipedia picture. Jeff Brom's got one of the all-time ones. He was not ready for the photo, but you can see in his eyes like the look of an insane person. And like Colton said, this is the fire starter. This is the guy who's going to whip your team into shape. Kind of borderline wild card, but I don't know if you see that vision.
100%. He's somebody who could just totally. He could be the death of my team. He could be somebody that just decides he doesn't want to show up. He could be somebody that just is like, hey, actually, I don't fuck with Barry Switzer at all. Like, I've never liked him. I like to throw the ball. And that just ruins my whole team.
High risk, high reward.
Yes. All right. It's back up to me and Ryan. I'll say I've got the same strategy as you. It's to find the college coaches who don't look good in a tight shirt. It's to find the guys who are going
every
to be
coach. The college coach looks good in a tight shirt. They all look bad.
The ones who there's levels to this, Pat. As a bigger gentleman myself, there's guys who look, they don't look great in a tight shirt, and then there's guys who look actively bad in a tight shirt, which is why I preface that by saying my next pick is Sam Pittman. He is all upper body. He's a little bit on the older side, but he lives in Fayetteville where there's probably nothing else to do. A lot of this one's a region as well. If you're in a college town where there's pretty much nothing else to do but drink, that's going to up your score in my book. I see him as a more I was kind of between him and Heupel on my big board, but the problem with Heupel is that if you go send him out to go get the beer, right, they might have to ID him because they'll see like a 40-year-old body with an 8-year-old's face and get really confused at the beer store.
Yeah.
But so I'm picking the best of both worlds. I'm picking Pittman with my second round pick.
It's a good pick. Mean, definitely a big body. Some real age concerns there. Again, I just wonder if he can still produce this age.
I mean, you just need one good day out of him. If he dies after that, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
I'm not trying to kill Sam Pittman. Let me put it out there. I'm not trying to kill Sam Pittman.
That's good. That makes one of us.
Okay, all right. We'll spin up the wheel right now for our next man thrown in the drunk tank. we are eliminating our enemies with this drunk tank. Pat, give me another guess as to who it is.
Dabo.
It is not Dabo. Same sort of area of the country. If anyone wants to take a stab at this,
Shane Beamer.
okay, actually that was too specific. No, Alex Galesh.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah. That
he
would've been-
actually was on my board.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a bit of a bigger guy. Also Russian, born in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
You know, prefer this is more of a liquor drinking contest, but you got to think he's got some juice to it.
All right. He was going to be on my board, and then I saw this picture of him at the top of this article, and then it just took him off the board completely for me. There's something about the look in this article that just did not do it for me.
Oh.
There are some coaches who I feel like would turn the case race into a networking event, and he might be near the top.
Yeah.
Do they need a branded hat that says South Florida Edge on it? Do they need that? Does that kind of
There's enough
meaning
of that in
the
Tampa Bay
meaning there? I
area
think I have an
already.
idea for what they're trying to get across, but I think it could be misconstrued a little bit too easily.
The edge is really big. That hat's all
Really?
edge.
Yeah, it's really big. I mean, Alex Galesh, big on South Florida edging. Yeah, you gotta take that from this.
That's a great name for like a Tampa Bay adult bookstore.
Or like an arena football league. We're the South Florida Edge. It can kind of go either way.
How many, adult bookstores can Tampa Bay possibly fit in? There's already so many there.
Well, you're saying Arena Football League. I'm saying they're the I forget what it was called. The LFL, the Sexy Women's Football League. They're the dominatrix team in the league. They're like they're the heel.
You gotta have
Owned and
that.
operated by Sean Salisbury.
Okay. Sorry. Back to the board. I am gonna. Ryan, you've brought up. I have age concerns with my team, so that's why with my third pick, I'm taking Kenny Dillingham. Now he doesn't have the body type of my previous two picks. I believe he's still the youngest coach in college football. If that's, I want to say,
He's one of them for sure. I mean, he's.
he's
I feel
35.
Yeah, you're kind of getting a little bit of a Jeff Brom thing here, where he could be very good, or he could completely ruin your team's chemistry. Because I do feel like Kenny Dillingham is secretly a psycho.
He has the haircut of one. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, when you're cutting it yourself, you got to do the best you can.
Man, I've got nothing on. I just need some young blood on my team. I think Colton, it's back to you.
Back to me. I can't believe that this is my third pick, and I can't believe that none of you would take this man already. What are we doing here, guys? I'm taking Mike Gundy.
Yep.
This is a guy at media days who, after Ollie Gordon's DUI or DWI, whatever it was, said on record, I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. Like,
What's
just
the big deal?
not even a second thought to it. I'm absolutely rolling with Mike Gundy, and this is a guy who I don't have to worry about. He's going to sit in silence. He might not talk to anybody. He might put down a couple cases by himself. This is a man who is comfortable just sitting on the couch, drinking beer, and doing nothing else.
It's a good pick.
It's a great pick.
Yeah.
Former wrestler too,
And
right?
I
He was a
got
wrestler.
Gundy and Switzer. That's complete team chemistry. I got two team leaders that can oversee Jeff Brom. I need some insulation around Jeff Brom to contain the explosion. And with Gundy and Switzer, I feel like I got that.
That's good.
Would there be some conflict between Gundy and Switzer, seeing that they, Switzer coached at Oklahoma, Gundy was at Oklahoma State?
I don't think so, because his brother, Gundy's brother, was at Oklahoma for so long, so it just kind of runs in the family. So I think I would bet that him and Barry Switzer are actually probably pretty close.
They played against each other, which there could be some relationship there, but they did go head to head
That's
in
true.
his final 2 years in Oklahoma. Switzer's, that is.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
I think they get along. I don't think either one of them have all that strong of loyalties to their particular schools and rivalries. I think that it's just that they don't want to leave Oklahoma, so they're there forever.
Yeah, totally fair. I think I've got next pick here.
Yep.
And Colton, you called it out correctly. I've had a couple big linemen here. I've had some big bodies, some guys that are gonna eat a lot of innings for me. I need someone to push the pace a little bit, right? I need a bit of an aggressor here, and for me, I think there's no one who can get more psychologically out of the people around him than taking the young Urban Meyer, the Bowling Green Urban Meyer, fresh in his first coaching job, still going after sorority girls en masse. We've seen the glassy eyes in all the recent pictures. We know the reputation. We know he's still getting after it, but I want him in his prime. I want him before the Widow's Peak took over, and I want Urban to get in here and light some guys up. And is he going to put away a lot himself? Probably not. He's probably the strongest drinker on the team. He can put away a few. He was a frat guy, Sigma Chi guy, but this is the guy who's going to set the tone for this team. And I need Urban there to push the pace.
My one thing with Urban, especially with what you have and being around, other these offensive linemen, former offensive lineman types, is you get halfway through this. How many more times are they going to want to hear 4 to 6 A to B while they're crushing a beer? Like, I feel like he's going to have to walk that line or above the line, as he would say, to try to not piss his former offensive lineman off.
I think that's fair. And look, they don't have to be best friends at the end of it, right? They don't have to be buddies. They just got to get a ring. That's all that matters to me. It's about the day of. This is not a long-term partnership. So
it's a Vrabel situation.
Yep, exactly.
Are wives in attendance at this event? Are there going to be wives and girlfriends? I would be worried about that.
That's a fair concern. I'm going to guess.
We've got pink flamingos all around the room of the case race. Shelly Teenies being sipped by everybody.
How special was Shelly Meyer? She was physical when she was in Columbus.
4 to 6 A to B, man. She was the best.
Oh man, am I up?
You're up.
All right, give me Kalani Sitake. I want team chemistry. Team chemistry, wow. Kalani Sitake. We got a lot in common with some of the other coaches on the board here. Give me Kalani Sitake.
Patrick, I believe if I'm correct, you have not yet taken a coach who currently drinks alcohol.
Yeah, that's correct.
I like it. Expansion team approach.
Uh-huh.
That's like a Jimmy Graham pick or like the Antonio Gates. Like, we see the skill set, and if you're willing to do this, you're going to be a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. Yeah, you get it. I'm going for untapped drinking potential with my team.
I like it. And I'm honestly, I got to fess up here. I was obviously wrong. I had someone on my board I was sure you were going to take already, and he hasn't got off for you yet. So it's tough to pick 3. So a little bit of egg on my face right now.
Oh, I can't blame. I don't think that anybody really could have predicted what my board would look like. I mean, I don't know that that this was a strategy that a lot of people were planning on deploying, but I'm sure that was it Thomas Hammock? Did you think I was going to take Thomas Hammock?
Nope, not him. But he would be a good pick if you took him.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I'm not going to. Zach, who's coming off the board?
This is probably the first hurtful coach to come off the board. He was on my big board, Jamie Chadwell, thrown in the drunk tank.
That is who I thought it was.
Yeah. That would have been if I had taken a different approach, Jamie would have been near the top. I mean, it makes sense that he would be in the drunk tank because I do think he gets a little belligerent. I don't know if he's got the big enough body to support his activities within the case race, but Jamie can put some down. It's really a shame that we don't have Dana Holgerson in here anymore because kind of the proto Jamie. I think Dana walked so that Jamie could run.
You do have a legacy pick. Just gonna put it out there.
I do have a legacy pick. All right, for my my next pick, I'm gonna save my legacy pick for the end. I'm saving it for round 5. My next pick, I'm gonna go with Bronco Mendenhall.
Okay, man.
Dude, come on.
Come on.
I don't think I need to explain this one. Speaks for itself.
I don't know if we're speaking the same language. Ryan, you're back on the board.
I'm back up, huh? Well, look, this one, again, I'm not going for big names here. I'm going for performance. And there's a guy to me. I'm going to give you guys a profile first before I say the name. This is a former college football player. He only played 1 year of college football at Iowa before he had a career-ending injury. Went into the coaching world, bulked up, and put on about 40 pounds of muscle. Pretty big guy nowadays. Bald guy. Head coach in the Midwest. Spent about 5 years working at Army before he got a chance to be a head coach again. This is Central Michigan head coach Matt Drinkall.
Oh, yeah.
Drinkall. Matt Drinkall. I'm going to keep saying that here. This is a guy who just has an aggressive look to him. Just an aggressive look to him. You got the name, you got the reputation, got to live up to it. I like this guy to get after it. And again, another Midwest native. He is from Bettendorf, Iowa. Just 42 years old.
I like it. The name, you got to like that. Just go straight off the bat. But also, he has a Midwest drinker's beard, I would say. There's really no mistaking it. There's no other way to describe the beard that he's working with. This is a Midwest drinker's beard.
That is the first thing I noticed. It's the white tinges at like the bottom of the inside face, bottom of the goatee.
Mm-hmm.
That's a veteran's mark there. That's like a couple of dents on your helmet earlier in the season. It shows that you know what you're doing. You hit hard.
Yeah.
All right, and it's back to Colton, right?
Yep.
I really don't want to do this because this is the biggest swing I've taken so far, and I feel like this is for sure my biggest character risk. But I know this man can put something down if he's in the right mind frame, if he's in the right mindset. I'm going Scott Frost, man. I've heard stories. It's out there.
Nebraska country clubs, huh?
Yeah, Scott Frost, when he's on his game, I'm looking at a guy who's all pro level. If he's not on his game, he's going to be my worst player. There's no in between. I'm not getting a mid-tier performance from Scott Frost. I'm not getting 7-9. I'm getting either UCF undefeated Scott Frost, or I'm getting 3-9 losing to Georgia Southern at home style drinking from Scott Frost. No in between. And the one thing too, I feel like if Scott Frost hits a point, like he's going south. He's getting real belligerent.
Yeah. One wrong comment from Switzer, and he might just be pouting the rest of this.
Just done. He's totally thrown off his game. And even if it's somebody from one of your guys' teams, it's anybody can get in his head. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've got a question for you about Scott Frost here. How much stubble do you want on his face? He would start the season clean shaven, then at Nebraska it would just get worse and worse until he looked like a homeless guy, early stage homeless guy. Do you want a lot of stubble here? Or do you want clean shaven? I feel like stubble's bad mindset can get shit talked very easily.
Yeah, I need like early 2018 summer, like right after he got hired, Scott Frost. That's what I need, where Nebraska writers are putting out fan fiction about he just beat Urban Meyer and won his 3rd Big Ten title game. That's the type of Scott Frost that I need.
That's a classic story. It's awesome that they didn't even. I think it did come out in 2018 that it was like Omaha World or something, and Urban didn't even make it to the next season. Like their projection of their fantasy wasn't even. They couldn't even get that part right. He didn't even last another year.
Honestly, I read it yesterday. He beat Urban Meyer in the 2021 Big Ten title game. And then in 2028, won his 3rd and they were undefeated, but he was still campaigning for a playoff spot. They made a book out of that. I might buy that because it's 70% off. That's where I saw it on Amazon.
I had forgotten the part where they were like capitulating in their fantasy story. They were they're like, well, he's gonna have to try and he's gonna have to get on TV and do some propaganda to try and get an undefeated Nebraska team in the playoff. But we think he can do it.
They were going real crazy too, because at the first part of it, it was like senior quarterback Adrian Martinez just led Nebraska to another Big Ten title game, and then at the end of it, it's like the quarterback is Jimmy Chitwood, and I was like, all right, I know what I'm reading here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was written with one hand. No doubt about that.
Do you think they got that name Jimmy Chitwood from Tim Chitters from of Rooster fame?
Might have gone the other way. Might have been the other way around. Not sure about that.
It's a chicken and egg situation. I'm back up. I'm very happy nobody took him after he was mentioned earlier in the round. I'm taking Thomas Hammock.
Yeah.
43 years old, is pretty much a Midwest lifer. Played at Northern Illinois, hopped around the Midwest until he's back there. Spent a little bit of time with the Ravens, but that's also a big drinking city. Shout out Baltimore. I think he's lost a little bit of weight. Otherwise, he would have been my round 2 pick. But I can't say I'm unhappy with getting Hammock on the squad.
It's a big round for nominative determinism. We got Drinkle, we got Frost, we got Hammock. I mean, that's everything you need for a relaxing afternoon.
We just need the pink flamingos now from Shelley, and we got ourselves a day.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. You threw a Bronco in there, so I don't know how relaxing this is going to be.
I think that could be pretty relaxing if Shelley's around. That might be okay.
Jesus.
She's bringing the flamingos. She's already going to be there. What is Urban going to stop you? No, of course not. He's encouraging you. Yeah, get up in there.
With that, I'm sending somebody else to the drunk tank here. Okay, we're sending Clay Helton to the drunk tank. I don't think he was on anybody's board, was he?
No, I can't say that he was.
Well, he won't be missed.
No. I have to also take him off here. Okay, perfect. Round 5, second to last round. Okay. This is a risky pick. I'm going to give you my reasoning for it is because every picture I see of this guy, he looks like an alcoholic. I'm going to take Trent Dilfer here.
Yeah. I think that it's. I don't know if he's having fun doing it. I think it's kind of a shameful act for him. But yeah, he can't. I don't think he's helping himself, especially not right now in his current state of mind. I think Trent Dilfer's I think he's going through it a little bit.
Yeah, he's complaining before the game that the boosters don't have enough money to get him Bud Light. He just settled for Natty. He's getting pissed off that they don't have the budget to drink even like a mid-tier beer, and that he's bargain bin shopping.
Well, I think he's actually going on a pot. This is the issue, right? Is he's the character concern because he might stop in the middle, go do a podcast, complain about the boosters and the quality of beer, and then get back and then get mad at everybody else that they haven't drank his portions while he was gone.
He's
high risk, high reward.
He's kind of got the Tom Herman thing going on where he looks different in every picture, which I think is definitely that's a good sign for the potential alcoholism here. That's really kind of a surefire. Either that or he's got a really good connection in Turkey.
He can definitely be somebody who tears your team apart. Because do you remember, what was it, the old QB series where he's talking to Jameis Winston? And he's like, are you a butcher or are you a surgeon? Are you a surgeon or are you a butcher? And that's what he's doing to the other players on the team. He's like, you're drinking like a surgeon right now. I need you to be a butcher. I'm a butcher. You got to be a butcher.
He's getting a devious sunburn too. Like you might be getting to the end of the case race and he's like out of commission because the top of his head's on fire.
I mean,
I also feel like too, this is something, not to give away any of the strategy I had. Like if we're taking in current states, I do feel like play on the field and job security can play a role into this. Like if you're on a little bit of a hotter seat, you may be more inclined to just to let it loose and go. And Trent Dilfer's seat is probably the hottest of anybody's.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
It's a good pick. It's an understandable pick. I can see where you're coming from.
all right. Colton, back to you.
Gosh. I don't think anybody's taken him yet, but I mean, I think this is kind of along the same lines of Ryan's strategy, I guess. I'm gonna go Matt Entz from Fresno State.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
was on
dude
my
who was
board.
born in Waterloo, Iowa, went to Wartburg College in Iowa. I can guess what he was doing at Wartburg. And just somebody who has that pedigree of just being in the Midwest his whole life. And then if you've ever been to Fresno, there's nothing else to do out there but drink. So I don't think his lifestyle is going to change at all. And I need, a little bigger body to match with Switzer, to match with Gundy and Frost. I need that powerhouse. So let's go Matt Entz.
Yep, he'll eat some innings for sure. Eds is a productive guy. I had him on my board as well. Was thinking about him here. He's got that kind of neck to him that tells you he can drink a little bit. People talk about that lift and weights, but you can see it in the drinker too. Some guys just get real thick head and neck in a way that's it only comes one way, So
we all need our David Wells, and he's mine.
Yeah. You got to have him.
He was on my big board too, for all the same reasons. I would like to say it's very funny that when you look up just Matt Entz on Google Images, result number 9 is a guy with the same name he's a Team Polaris athlete for snowmobiling.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Not on my big board, but I just wanted to point that out. Sorry.
I like it. Maybe they're friends.
Yeah. All right. I've got a pick here that might be a little bit surprised. Might be some questions around the team chemistry that comes from this. I'm taking Kirby Smart from Georgia. Not the world's biggest guy. He was about 5'11", 180 when he played. Probably up pushing over 2 bills now. He's put on some weight. This is a good old boy from Georgia. And this is a guy who also, I think, critically here with Urban Meyer as kind of the designated leader of the roster. This is a guy who was an assistant for a long time. He waited his chance. He's a freak competitor. He's comfortable taking direction from the greats, but he gives his all. He's going to get after it. Real aggressive. He's going to sweat out some of this beer. He's going to be fresh still in the fourth quarter. I like Kirby here as a guy to really set the tone for me.
I like it. Emotional leader for the team.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think you run the risk here of him getting a DUI mid-pace race.
That's fair. Yeah.
Always a possibility.
He's coming back, and it's not a complete case that he's bringing with him. He's got what the hell? Uneven number of beers in this case. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, he thought he'd get a head start and show up 15 beers ahead of the other teams.
He was just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this the last round or the second to last round? Because that'll change my pick.
Second to last.
All right. I'm going to save my legacy pick for the last round. Then I'm going to go with Kyle Whittingham as my final active kick, my final active coach. Kind of complete the team of up and comers for me. Same logic here as all the other ones. I think my strategy is pretty clear at this point. So I'm going Kyle Whittingham.
All right. We will add one more name to the drunk tank before you get your legacy pick off.
I got some bad intel from Pat's war room.
Yeah, I got thrown.
Just bad intel. Who do we got now?
The name off the board is Deion Sanders, who I don't know about his drinking, but he has famously gone on records that he's never jacked off.
He's got discipline. That's good. Him and Alex Galesh are in there. They're not coming. That's for sure.
South Florida Edge.
All right, my last pick. This is the one that ties it all together. This is the Godfather. He's overseeing everybody. I think he's keeping everybody on the right track. I got to go with Lavelle Edwards. Close out my team.
Okay.
Patrick, what is this bit you're doing?
I'm going with the all LDS case race team. Obviously,
This is the pre-drinking Matt Brown draft board.
yeah. Mormons love an activity. We might not win, but we're all going to have a really good time.
At this point, your betting here is that your picks are going to distract the other teams long enough so they can pour out all the beers in the sink or something and like win that way.
Yeah, we're conniving for sure. We're scheming. We're doing some plots. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to get a little bit creative. We're gonna have to be innovative to win this, but I think that we can maybe sneak some root beer in there ahead of time and maybe pound those instead. We got some non-alcoholic beers. Caloric content still the same. Still going to be a test on the body, but I think my boys are up for it.
Well, someone
Low-key,
did
this might
ask
be-
earlier.
Go ahead,
someone
Ryan.
did ask earlier if wives are invited.
Yeah.
And there
Oh.
is one clear way you can get an advantage here.
How so?
I assume these guys have several of them. I assume you got a couple on call.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. I didn't know if the wives could participate. If the wives can participate, it's a different game entirely. I've got 25 people on my fucking team. You guys are at least one of them are going to be probably not, related to the church. You got to have at least one, and maybe there are even more than that. I think we got some power wives in here.
I feel like too, Pat low-key is kind of sabotaged Ryan's team just with the Whittingham kind of Lavelle Edwards, LDS, and Ryan has Urban Meyer. Like I feel like Whittingham would be like, "What are you doing?" Like if there's one person that can kind of quell Urban and keep him in check, it might be Kyle Whittingham. And so some of those former Mountain West guys. I feel like that's kind of a low-key devious move.
Yeah, my team is protesting the case race. They're they're not participating. They're actively trying to stop it from happening. This isn't good for you. What are you guys doing to your bodies? Look at this. You're gonna be. What about your kids? What do your kids think if you're doing this?
If there are two people I know who are comfortable mowing down protesters, it's Kirby Smart and Urban Meyer. So I think we feel just fine here.
It's gonna be a hard fought battle.
All right, and it's back to me for my last pick.
That's right.
So I had a few names on my board here. I don't want to give them all away because I know you guys still have to pick two. I'm going to take one it's a bit out of left field. I don't think he was on anybody else's board, but I want you guys to Google a picture of this man when I say his name, because it kind of looks like Matt Damon wearing a bald cap and a fat suit, and like he grew his beer out for like a white nationalist movie he's doing. It's Mark Carney of Kent State. And you do have to Google Mark Carney, Kent State, because there's some like a politician who has the same name.
It is the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second most important Mark Carney.
Oh, I see it. I see it now.
Yeah.
This is a guy, look him in the eyes. This is a psychopath. This is a guy who was going to get the job done.
No soul
Yeah, I can
behind
see
those
this,
eyes. No
for
life.
sure.
No life in him.
This is a guy who's going to set the tone. He did play quarterback in college, but he did it at Fordham, Cleveland native. Again, in his 40s. I think every coach I took except Urban's in his 40s. And just a guy I have some confidence in. He wasn't the top of my board, but I was looking at my roster, and I think I need a real competitor. I think this is him. So
I like that
I,
he's been photographed seemingly twice ever. I like that.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. Man, a few words, man, a few pictures. Well, we end this, Zach. Are we going to do some honorable mentions? I had some other research on this I wanted to shout out as
Oh, absolutely.
other names. So, okay. So I'll save my comments for the end. And Colt, I'll kick it to you for your last pick.
I'm really torn between two right here, and one I think is just a powerhouse who can put him down, and the other I just trust can be kind of that low key guy where afterwards you're like, damn, he might have been the star of the show. Because to navigate Texas high school and college football for as long as this man has, you can't just be sober, and that's Joey McGuire of Texas Tech. Like I feel like I got to have a good old Texas boy who has seen it all, been through it all, done it all, and can network and just knows how to move around in those situations. You can't do that without being able to drink some beers. So I'm going to go Joey McGuire. Even though there was another one on my list who I probably would have higher, I'll roll with Joey McGuire, Texas Tech.
I
It's a
like
good
there's
pick. You got
sort
to
of
get
a
value here late.
yeah, we got kind of a regional thing going on here. We've all taken sort of different regions of drinkers in this draft. I don't know how we managed that because we did not talk about that ahead of time. But Colton's got kind of a Southwest Plains thing going on. Ryan and Zach are both kind of floating around the Midwest, and I have, of course, I've captured the state of Utah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you have.
Yep. The drinking powerhouses of America: the Midwest, the Southwest Plains, and Utah. There's a big three.
All right, Zach, who's your last pick?
All right, so I'm down to my historical pick, and speaking of regionality, I guess that is actually a pretty good segue from Patrick. I'm taking the northern equivalent of a good old boy, and that is former Pittsburgh head coach Dave Wannstedt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Born and raised in Pittsburgh, accent thicker than a Permane sandwich. He's gonna set the pace here. Back in 2005, so he's 52 at this point, but that's never stopped anyone in the Pittsburgh region from drinking at that point. He is another big glue guy for me. Yeah, I think his best drinking days are still ahead of him. He's just getting started.
That is very much
he's
like
got. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. What's he got?
No. I mean, that guy's got he's got a timeshare down in Marco Island. Like that's a guy. He's going down to Florida. He's probably spent the time on the Outer Banks. He has smoked inside at a bar. I'd say like hundreds of times if I had to guess, hundreds of times.
That's a low end estimate, I think, for smoking inside with Dave Wannstedt. Yeah, like four figures easily.
Zach, I don't know if Colton and Patrick know this, that you are still legally allowed to smoke inside of Pittsburgh bars. That is not a joke. That is still legal in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
How he's 73 years old. I mean, it might be 10,000 at this point. Like he's lived a lot of days, and I would guess he's probably spent most of them in Pittsburgh bars. I think you could be getting into five figures here.
Well, and you gotta figure too. So he was at Pittsburgh for a long time. Before that, he was in Miami in the late 90s and early 2000s, and before that, he was with the 90s Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, I trust that Dave Wannstedt is a crucial and vital member of this team right here. He's like a Switzer light to me. He is in that kind of realm.
I want this team investigated. I think that they're using some performance enhancing drugs. I don't. That background makes me a little suspicious.
He's calling up Dan Marino before he gets there, and just in case he needs a little extra pep as things get late. The son of the mailman himself is making a delivery.
Zach's team's coming up with a lot of business ideas during this case race. They got a lot of business ideas. That's a great way to put it. I think that's I mean, listen, Dilfer's gonna be looking for a job, so he's obviously gonna be interested in these conversations moving forward. That Wannstedt is starting with, Dillingham's probably also he's probably a crypto guy, but that's besides the point. Real quick recap, or Go ahead.
Yeah, Dillingham keeps bringing it back to AI stuff. They're like, fucking stop with the AI shit, dude. We want to start a bakery, asshole.
Okay. I'm going to recap the teams here. We'll start with Patrick, the all-Utah team. Steve Sarkisian, Ken Niumatalolo, Kalani Sitake, Bronco Mendenhall, Kyle Whittingham, and Lavelle Edwards is his legacy pick. When you read it out, it's funny.
Yeah. It's kind of that was the plan. That was what I had in mind, is that it would be a really funny list of 6 guys to put together.
All right. Ryan, we've got Brent Key, Jason Eck, Bowling Green, Urban Meyer as his legacy pick, Matt Drinkall, Kirby Smart, and Mark Carney.
Sure.
Yep, a lot of beef there. A lot of beef.
It's a big team with Colton. Started off with the legacy pick with Barry Switzer. We got Jeff Brom, Mike Gundy, Scott Frost, Matt Entz, and Joey McGuire.
Good.
Living in that Southwest Conference.
The Gundy pick was really strong. I should have picked him earlier than you did. That was a steal in the 3rd round. And then my team, I got Brett Bielema, Sam Pittman, Kenny Dillingham, Thomas Hammock, Trent Dilfer, and Dave Wanstedt as the legacy pick. Just to recap the drunk tank, we got Phil Longo, Alex Galesh, Jamie Chadwell, Clay Helton, Deion Sanders, and Scott Abell, which is that might rival Patrick's team as just a funny collection of 6 guys to think about.
Yeah.
In the same place.
Yeah, nobody in there that we would have been like, ah, damn. Like I had him on my board.
I had Chadwell on the board.
I had Chadwell on the board. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think Helton might have been a decent kind of under the radar option as well. He's got I don't know if he's got a lot going on, and I feel like he would really take to a kind of a community event a chance to have some friends. I don't know if that's usually something he's got going on for him.
I do have to say that I'm proud of everybody here that nobody took Lane Kiffin.
He's a bad hang.
Lane Kiffin, fake demon, absolutely fake demon. I don't think he drinks beer at all. Like I don't believe that Lane Kiffin is a beer guy. I'm proud of all of you that nobody took Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I think Lane is like, he has like a really crazy whiskey setup that he partakes in like once every 6 months. He's a bad hang. You don't want to be on a team with him. Bad guy to be around. And I don't think he's got it like that. I think he's passing out pretty early on.
Yeah, I think he's a drinker. I think he's a daiquiri guy, and I don't mean that like in a derogatory way. I just think that is his style of drink, and that's, if we were going, daiquiri mixed drink, maybe Lane Kiffin could be a part of this, but he is not a case race guy, not at all.
No, I think Lane is the guy who drank like vodka mixed with Gatorade way too long after freshman year. Like that was still a go-to drink for him post-grad.
He's got the office Borg. He's drinking from the office Borg. He's loving it.
I mean, considering his known habits as Joey Freshwater, he might have been doing that concerningly late after his freshman year. The Borg lifestyle.
I'd say so. Zach, I want to shout out some guys here who didn't get drafted, but I thought were worthy consideration. Okay. So you have Sharon Moore from Michigan, former college offensive lineman, who played at basically an all-white team as like one of the lone African American guys. Like probably got after some binge drinking there and kept that habit up.
Why? Why would that be the case? You want to explain
that dynamic? Come on, you know that dynamic. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Sharon Moore was like the white kicker on an HBCU, but in reverse.
Basically, yeah. Willie Simmons at FIU, his nickname is Shotgun, which I thought about strongly. Dan Lanning, the tattoo. That's all I have to say. We know the Dan Lanning tattoo.
Yep.
Didn't fit on the chemistry for my team, but I thought about him.
Dan's also, like, if you go back and look, if you Googled whatever Dan Lanning, Georgia, whenever that was, like 2018 or 2019, versus like whatever latest social media picture has been put up of him, That is a man that has aged like 10, 12 years in the span of 5. So I don't think that that's just natural or stress related.
I think
I'd have to agree.
I don't have evidence for this. I feel like Dan still owns and wears like those and one, like the really big and one t-shirts from the early 2000s. I think he's that kind of. I think he's that kind of drinker. Okay,
I can see that.
I have something to bring up about Dan Lanning that I just put together. He looks like Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does have those fucked up eyes, dude. He looks like he really does get to some dark places when he's on his own.
Well, there's a picture. I'll send it in the little group chat we have, but it's after his 49-3 opening, like season opening loss to Oregon. Tell me this isn't like a fucking Breaking Bad extra scene here. Keep going with your honorable mentions here. I'm gonna get this over here.
Sean Lewis, Midwestern offensive lineman.
Sure.
Joe Harasmiak, guy just looks like he put some beers away. Michael Desarmo at Louisiana. If you guys Google a picture of him, I'm not sure if last time you looked at a picture of Michael Desarmo. Patrick, I imagine you're doing it most nights.
Yeah.
He is a guy who looks like he can drink, I'll say. Luke Fickle, Catholic boy, former college defensive lineman, living in Wisconsin now. I think Fickle put some beers away. Those are kind of the big shout outs. Also see Tony Gibson. Zach, I think you might have an idea on that one. Former NC State defensive coordinator, but spent a lot of time in the state of West Virginia, a lot of time recruiting the area of Pittsburgh, kind of a Wanstead light. And then one other guy here I took almost off vibes. You guys seen a picture of Sonny Cumbie? You guys know what Sonny Cumbie looks like?
Yes. I know exactly what Sonny Cumbie looks like, unfortunately.
If this took place on a lake, Sonny Cumbie's going up the board much higher.
Oh, yeah.
This is on dry land. He's not a draftable guy, but that's a lake drinker. And then I had
Here's my thing with Cumbie. I'm looking at his pictures from like his introductory like photo shoot and everything. He looks a little bit too much like a Burning Man guy. Like he's gonna show up, like he was invited and he's on team and everything, but he's showing up on mushrooms. Yeah.
Very fair. Southern mushroom guy, bad head. Really bad.
I see the vision that Ryan's going with though, because if it's on the lake, Sonny Cumbie's definitely the guy who's like trying to get it 10. He's like, hey, I got the wakeboard. We got the boat and the wakeboard. You guys want to go out on the wake? I'll teach you how to wake. It's really not that hard, man. I'll get you. You'll get up first try. I promise.
Are you sure you're good to drive the boat? And he's like, I've never driven it sober. What do you mean, am I good to drive the boat?
Did you have Barry Odom on your honorable mention list, Ryan?
I do. Barry Odom was, I think I had a 4th round grade on Barry Odom.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. It's really, I'm kind of surprised that like, I guess he's kind of, he doesn't really, I don't know if he was even eligible, but like Bobby Petrino, kind of surprised Bobby Petrino didn't get, or like Ed Orgeron, guys who are, I think, assistants now. The team chemistry is going to be a problem with those two, but I am a little bit surprised. There's not enough. I don't think we have a ton of rascal representation on this board.
Yeah, Kirby. I'd say Kirby's a rascal.
Yeah.
Ed O would have been. I think Ed O was like a home run. That's actually a really good. That's a really good prospect right there. Petrino's one where it's just like you're either getting Lamar Jackson Heisman season or you're getting 2-10 and it's just blowing up. Like there's no in between. Bobby Petrino is just perilous for team chemistry, for team health.
Yeah. You can't keep him around for too long. You're gonna want a short leash on Bobby. He might get a little out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, Ed O was definitely a very, very high value pick in the legacy draft. Some other guys there. Bobby Petrino, not taken. I think pretty self-explanatory. And then Titty Bar Tom Herman, also not selected. You got to wonder if he can keep it up in today, but I mean, Tom Herman of like at Texas, that guy was putting him away. And then the last one I had was Will Muschamp at Florida. A real chemistry threat to any team he's on, but just drinking volume, that guy can put him down.
I don't even know if he is a chemistry threat because he's among friends here. Coaches love Will Muschamp. They cannot get enough of Will Muschamp. If you've got him around like normal people, it might be a problem, but you put him in with a bunch of coaches, they're loving him. They don't ever want him to go.
Yeah,
That's definitely
fair.
a missed one.
Very fair. Pretty fun overall.
I also feel like
got no
too
complaints
there's
here.
a blind spot of like 90s 2000s guys who were just living way differently and skirting all sorts of stuff, like a Mike Price. Like, this is a man who couldn't even coach a game at Alabama because of the whole strip club incident. Like, we're missing out on the guys who were just running wild during that Wild West era.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could have drafted a second and third team here and still had fun.
I think if we had more legacy picks, we would have had some pretty fucking wild teams. Patrick might have ran out of guys pretty quickly.
I did run out of guys. I had 6 guys on my board. I thought it was a 5-man draft. I didn't.
It's honestly really funny that Urban Meyer coached at Utah. Like, now that you look back on it and just looking at Pat's picks, like of all those, you look back at the history of BYU, you look back at the history of Utah and some of the other smaller Utah schools, and then there's just Urban Meyer,
the king. He was transcended culture.
I do want to say I had a couple of ACC guys on the big board. I think we're overlooking them as a potential conference here. Now I have Mario on here because he's bigger, and I think Ryan, you said this with who you said this with? I think with Kirby, but he's gonna sweat it out. He's gonna put him back and then go for another one. He's the sweatiest coach active in college football today. I did have a bunch of guys though that I thought were coach to coach chemistry concerns.
Well, really quick, Zach, really quick on Mario. I just gotta be honest with you here. I'm never drafting a Cuban. Sorry, someone has to say it. I am never drafting a Cuban American. That's reliable. Ridiculous.
Mario just gets right to the end and Mario's one of those guys, like, mimicking his coaching style and mimicking his teams. It's like the first 2 hours, he's just powering through. He's pounding them. And then you just look over and you see him just falling, like, just straight flat right on his face. And he's one of those dudes who's just out. You're not getting him up. He's not rallying. He's done for. He's out for the count.
Yeah.
And he spent the whole time that he was awake talking about fucking Operation Mongoose. You're like, dude, shut the fuck up. Quit talking about that shit.
No, I mean, Mario's like, you guys have a 2-beer lead going into the final round of beers for each person. And he's throwing up as he finishes his last one, even though he could just take his time. That's Mario. Mario's throwing up in the last beer.
All right, that's fair. I do have a collection of coaches here, though. I think would have been physical fits, but actual anti-glue guys. So that would be Bill O'Brien, Pat Narduzzi, PJ Fleck, Mike Elko, and borderline Brent Pry. But I don't know if he's as much of a character concern as the other guys.
Solid.
I'm curious. What's the evaluation on somebody like Dan Mullen? How do you guys feel about a Dan Mullen style pick?
I thought about it. On Urban Meyer's staff for all those years, in Gainesville, at UNLV now. Like, there's just no way that he's a wild card.
He was on the boat with Urban, wasn't he? Wasn't he like one of the shirtless guys on the boat with Urban?
I can't confirm that.
I mean, we have to assume that at some point he's been on the boat with Urban. Urban doesn't hire coaches who haven't been on the boat.
Yeah.
Well, this is, to bring it back, is this a wife event? Because if Dan Mullen's wife is there, that might be a negative pick if we're talking.
I think that's really kind of a central question to the whole thing: is are wives aware that they're doing this, or are we doing this kind of under the as a secret event? That's going to make a big difference, because I think that some of these guys maybe would be a little bit too embarrassed to get tanked in front of their beautiful former marketing director at some SEC school.
PJ Fleck would have been a fun pick just to see what would happen, just to see how that would shake out.
Yeah, most likely guy to get shot. I would say. In the
country mile, not even close. Yeah.
That's a good draft. I think I think we all have good, equally competitive teams. All of our teams, they're on equal footing here.
Yeah. Zach, are we putting this out like a public vote, or how are we evaluating this? Do we have any kind of eval system?
I will dig off at work the next few days, make these graphics with the coaches, and we will leave it to the public to vote. These will be posted
Let's go.
at some point. Follow Simplify Pod on Twitter to find them. Follow all of us, and you'll find them too. With that, should have done this at the top, but you guys plug all your shit. I might have mentioned it at the top, but what are you guys doing? Where can people find you? All that good stuff.
Colton, you
Boys,
first.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody do it.
Midfield.com. Subscribe to the website. Listen to the podcast. Flipping the field.
Yeah, go check them out. The forms are popping right now, and they're only going to be even more popping as we get closer to the season. And I see that the conference previews are starting up at Meet at Midfield, so I'm going to dive into those in the next couple weeks and see, especially where the ACC is going. And Pat always has the G5 on lock, so I'm super excited to read all those. And then you can read all my stuff, twostripescpd.com. I just put out the subject, the head coaches, my hot seat tier rankings of every coach in the country. If you want to read about how quickly Trent Dilfer or Scott Satterfield are gonna lose their jobs, and go to youtube.com/Colton Denning for all the highlight stuff. So a lot of fun stuff from everybody coming up for this season. I can't wait, boys.
Yeah, love that, Colton. I love getting the emails every few days, checking those out and popping on there. I am very glad I subscribed and big fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the coaching hot seat stuff whenever that pops across the email. I basically drop whatever I'm doing at work because that is one of the highlights of my week, reading that, especially in the season. The live tracking of who's most likely to get fired is it's like watching horses race. You gotta love it.
And there's some guys who are going to get fucking fired for real this year. Like, we got a good crop of coaches who are either just, for sure they're axed, or they're in those couple second, third tier where it's like, Billy Napier, I'm waiting, baby. Come on home. Come on home to me.
Can you imagine the look in the mirror that Mark Stoops had when he got the phone call that he was losing? What's his name? The tight ends coach, Marrow. Can you imagine how he felt that day?
I think they call that a Thousand Island stare.
All right, I think we'll end there. See you next time. Simplify Pod. Bye.